The afternoon of the same day, we started our gunnery training. No time lost in this school. The primary weapon of the helicopter shotgun rider is the M60 machine gun. Gunners back from combat in Vietnam swear by it, calling it their third arm. They praised the training in assembly and disassembly. You don't need any imagination to see how important it is to know the reason for a malfunction and how to correct it immediately. We also learned to use the M14 and M16 as backup weapons to the M60. The instructors were crackerjacks, and the visual aids first class. I literally got to know the M60 inside out. The real fun came in firing the weapon. Serious fun. First, we fired the M60 from the prone position. Then standing up. The gunnery got more realistic when we climbed aboard a mock-up of the cargo compartment of a UH-1B helicopter. We practiced firing the M60 from its mount, then free-fired the weapon. In a later session, we learned to use the bungee cord attached to the roof of the helicopter. When the instructor causes a malfunction, the student grabs an M14 and keeps firing. The payoff on the gunnery course is when you get to fire from the air. First, we fly a dry run over the firing range, while the instructor points out Viet Cong type of foxholes and entrenchments. This is the Makua Valley firing range on the island of Oahu, and it's a beauty. We learn the procedures for proper visual search, which must be systematic to be thoroughly effective, plus lessons in target acquisition and identification, range estimate in ground distance and slant distance, and how all this is affected by the variables of speed, altitude, and angular motion. Tricky stuff, but fascinating. Before we make our first firing run, we get an orientation lecture about the range from one of the instructors. He tells us about the course we'll fly and the ground targets we'll be shooting at. It's a lot like the briefing we'll get before going on a combat mission in Vietnam. It's short and to the point. Then it's move out fast. The Huey takes off like an angry hornet. These choppers aren't in the same speed class as jets, but don't get the idea they can't go places in a hurry. They can climb, too. And skim close to the ground like no other aircraft can. We go into a firing run. It's the first time gunner, chopper, and M60 work together. Now I get the feeling of what it is to be a flying shotgun rider. Each student gets to fire in a low-altitude pass over the target area. Later on, we return to the range to fire on targets from a higher altitude, under the eye of the instructor, who sits in the open door like he's on his front porch. The M60 pumps out 550 rounds per minute. The instructor warns us not to get carried away when we're firing. It's important to conserve ammunition.